Sounds good. All right, cool, everyone. We are officially live with Craig Holycross, pro staff member here at Vance Outdoors, as well as a whole host of other stuff. You got accolades. How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Thanks for being here. And, of course, the man behind the switches, Mr. Ben Johnson.
I'm here as well.
And for the YouTube listeners out there, we got some new decorations on the wall, which is pretty sweet. So if you've been following along on our social media channels, you'll see that we added some extra stuff to the studio here. We got a new table as well as some sweet
Scored some bass and crappie and a
nice little buck here.
Yeah.
He's actually a 13 point. I counted him.
Mm-hmm.
So, cool. Well, Craig, man, thanks for coming in. I appreciate making a drive over here. I know you're a busy guy, so.
No, that's not a problem at all. I'm glad to finally get in here and sit down with you guys.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And so people may have seen, we did some work with Craig, obviously, with the Muskingum Archery video that we did. That was a really fun shoot, a little shoot off against some of the students.
Yeah.
And then a challenging shoot. It was dark, but
the lighting in there's not the best.
not the best for spots.
No. We'll have to do a rematch. We'll do one outside at the outdoor range one day or something.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they got a sweet thing. So we'll dive into that some more. But before we get too far in the weeds, man, let's go ahead and introduce yourself and then kind of talk about who you are, what you do, and then kind of how you got your introduction into the sport, if you will.
Yeah. So, obviously, name's Craig Holycross. I'm from here in Central Ohio. Love hunting, love fishing. Really big into target archery. I'm a prime pro staffer, and I'm also the head archery coach at Muskingum University.
Yep.
So pretty tied into collegiate archery and just the overall growth of the sport.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. As far as how I think it all got started, it's kind of crazy because I still sometimes I'm like, I do what for a living again?
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Because it was for the longest time, just like a lot of people archery or just like any other hobby, it's usually just a hobby or a passion that, you find time for on weekends or in the, evenings or something like that. So to be able to actually say no, I do that every day is pretty cool. I think it's unique because not a lot of people will get to say that.
Oh, definitely.
But how it happened was just one of those things when, people say it's just it was meant to be or,
sure.
God really sent me something that day because it was a rare thing to happen by chance. But with just, getting started with hunting in general, though, not coaching, obviously it was in the family. My dad and grandpa, it's just you grew up and it was hunting and fishing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's what we do for our family trips and everything. So it's kind of in our blood. I would say it didn't, get to a point where I was really passionate, extreme about it until a little later on in life probably. And, it kind of took a back seat because I played other sports and stuff. Yeah. I played soccer in college. And but, it really, I would say I got really into it in college probably. One of my best friends got me back into hunting and fishing in college, and it kind of was just he kind of sparked the fire for me. And it was if I wasn't at practice, I wasn't at school. It was I'm in the woods or I'm on the water, and it kind of just took off from there. And that's kind of where the the target side came into. Also, I was dating this girl, and her I guess brother-in-law at the time was a really well-known 3D shooter. He shot IBO and ASA and everything, and I've run into him a few times out west. Out east, and I knew nothing about setting bows up back then. I had a hunting bow. I think back then I was shooting some kind of bear bow or something, and just entry level, and but after meeting Aaron, he kind of opened my eyes to oh my gosh, there's so much to archery. I had no idea. He taught me how to fletch arrows, and started playing with different sights and everything. It was just the book opened up, and I was just oh my gosh, there's so much more. And I didn't even know 3D archery was a thing. I didn't know that there were tournaments or anything like that. At local clubs and stuff, you could go and you could shoot targets and bales and stuff like that, but I didn't know how big of a deal it was. And so one weekend, I think my junior or senior year, Aaron was going to one of the IBO Triple Crowns, and it was in Bedford, Indiana. And he was, him and his wife they were like, you and Craig, you want to come with us, he'll have a good time, bring his bow, he can shoot in hunter class, and I'm like, oh, sweet, get to go away with them for the weekend, stay in a hotel, shoot my bow. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like fun, So we piled in his truck, we drove to Indiana, and when we pulled in and I saw all the cars, all the vendor tents,
it's wild.
All these people with these serious target rigs, and I was just like, what did I get myself into?
A little bit different than the bear bow.
I'm like, this is not like a backyard 3D shoot. This is a big deal.
Yep.
And so, and I didn't even shoot a single 3D course, like a full course in my life until that day. And so we go down there and we start shooting, shooting steak and everything. And I was just like all over the place. I don't believe I missed a target that day, but there was a lot of fives going on. And at one point I was so nervous, and it happens to everybody at some point. I drew my bow back, didn't even have an arrow in it, and Aaron's like, you might want to get an arrow. And I was like, okay, yeah, I might need that. And I stepped back, and Aaron was just like, it's okay, just breathe. Just have fun, just shoot your bow, and
sure.
You don't have to worry about it. And after I left that first IBO, that leg of the Triple Crown, it was like I was hooked. I was like, okay, this is awesome. I want to go to more. Like, what do I have to do? I want to just immerse I want to get into this. And it kind of lit the fire for target archery, and then it just became a major passion in my life.
Now, what that was in college, right? Mm-hmm. So you graduated in 10?
9.
9. Let's say, because you and my wife went to school together at the same time, which we'll get into kind of how that's kind of cool, especially considering where you're coaching. But that area of the state definitely lends itself to being more outdoorsy for sure in terms of colleges.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely probably one of the more rural ones, if you will, in the state. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like what's good about it, though. It's a beautiful campus. And, and we'll get into it here in a bit, but there's just a lot of good takeaways and good experiences that I had personally from there. And
sure.
I think it's kind of like I guess you could say like a hidden gem, as far as university for academics and athletics now. So it's a cool place for sure.
So that was probably getting into that first IBO Triple Crown, which, you kind of walked into the mother jewel of IBO shoots, Triple Crown. I think what Levi just ended up winning one. What did he get? He brought home $25,000 or something crazy like that. I see it. Every week he's posting a picture of his check. But so after that, kind of what led you? What was your next target bow, or how did that process work with transitioning from the hunting side?
Yeah, even then for a few years I was really just we getting more involved with the local level shoots and stuff, and getting involved with the local clubs and things like that, and really just using it as preparation for hunting season.
It's great.
That's what we were doing, and staying in that hunter class, which it's a great class to start out in when you're getting into, I think, target archery. But, even if, your goal isn't to, continue to progress throughout the target archery, and just build on your skills for hunting, it's a great all-around class. So I did that for quite a while, and, I got pretty good at it fairly quickly, which was, obviously because I was just shooting all the time, you're putting work in, and, I wanted to continue pushing myself and going class to class, and that, I think, if obviously you get out of college, start making a little bit more money, you have a job, so you're able to start traveling to these shoots and stuff, because nobody in my family was, going to these shoots, and they weren't target archers, they just wanted to hunt, which is awesome, but, so it was it was great because it gave me an opportunity to get together with friends and travel to these events and meet so many great people. And you guys know, but the archery community is just it's awesome.
It's fantastic.
The type of people that you meet and run into, and the stories, and just the connections and the networking. It's it's really special. So, it by the down the road as we kept going, it's just well, I know what I'm doing come February to August. It's like
Yeah.
at least once or twice a month I'm going to be out of state shooting these things. So it's been fun.
Now, have you primarily focused on like outdoor? Or are you doing? I mean, I know you do some indoor stuff too, but what's your favorite? Going more spots or just shooting the 3Ds?
Oh gosh.
No, I don't. It takes a special person to like spots, man. It's such a nerve.
My thing is like, I love 3D archery, and I wish like indoor archery is tough. I think it's a very mental game.
Oh, for sure.
But looking back, and I tell like my student archers and our student athletes and stuff, like whoever I talk to, it's like I wish I would have been more involved with indoor archery earlier in my career or at an earlier age, because I think it is like it's really important, for the overall growth and your development as an archer on so many levels. There's a lot of takeaways that you can take, or you can transition from indoor to outdoor.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, if it was up to me, like I didn't want to shoot indoor archery because I wasn't mentally strong enough for the game.
Yeah,
I think that's what it is, and
Sure.
I'm trying to get better at it now. I say in the last 2 years I started to, obviously going to some of these bigger indoor national shoots, and it's like that is definitely my area that needs the most improvement.
Yeah.
And a lot of like I said, a lot of it isn't really the shooting side of it. It's the mental side of that game.
Yeah. Well, there's so much. There's the variables are taken out of that.
Yeah.
If you're missing and you're hitting nines, I mean, in some tournaments, if you hit a 9, you're done. You might as well just not even shoot the rest of the tournament. And so it's like your form's got to be on point. Whereas I feel like on the 3D, and maybe you can attest to this a little bit too, but there's some variables to that. I mean, it's the wind, it's the sun, it's if it's hot, even down to the part of like elevation, between shooting, not necessarily just elevation and shooting down on the target, but even if you're like, say you're going to a Western IBO shoot, well, your arrow is going to fly different elevations and all sorts of crazy stuff. So,
I think like, and with indoor archery too, it's just depending on what class you're in, what event you're shooting. I mean, like you said, you can't mess up.
Yeah.
The best in the world are out there shooting, and they don't miss. You know what I mean? So, but like with outdoor, and depending, I mean, you could sit here and argue, because the classes, whether it's known or unknown, are you judging or, it's, that I've pretty much always shot unknown, and for me it was because I was able to get better at judging. And for me, as long as I was judging good, it would make up for any imperfection I had in my shot usually.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas when you're shooting known yardage, and it's basically like you're shooting spots inside, you have to be aggressive if you want to win, and you got to go after those 12s almost every target.
Yeah.
People have different strategies and different game plans, as far as like course management and with the targets and what they're going to go after and what they don't. But at some point when you get to like that semi-pro or the pro level, I mean, there's some course management, I think, in everybody's game. But bottom line is you have to go for every 12.
Yeah.
And, that's where you find out. That's where you get found out right there, Whereas when you're judging yardage, you kind of have some wiggle room and some stuff, But even, the pro class now, like you got Levi and Dan and McCarthy and Jack and those guys. Dude, they're human rangefinders.
Yeah, they really are.
And you can't say that their shot isn't good. Like they're the best of both. And so, it's kind of, you have to add that aspect of like, well, even in that class, you need to go for every 12, on maybe not all of them, but like you better be hitting like well over 50% of them.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And then the other things too is really crazy. Cause I watched some of the, I think it was some of the IBO stuff that they televised live or whatever on YouTube. Dude, I watched Levi, man. He had this one. It was like last target. He had a 14 to win. Dude, and it was like 37 yards. I mean, just, a random number, dude. It was just like,
no big deal.
Like, the pressure in that situation to freaking hit that is nuts. I'm glad you brought up unknown and known. So some of our listeners may understand that. They may have shot in a tournament before, like us. We understand that. But kind of, can you break down on like a beginner level, kind of the different classes, if you will. I mean, I know there's a ton.
Yeah,
but
there's so many classes now. Like, there's probably classes I don't even know about, honestly.
But kind of break down the known, unknown, maybe some of the distances that you're looking at, if there's any cap to those distances or kind of where the target range. It's not like a tack event, everyone. You're not shooting 90 yards at these things. So kind of like break down kind of how that all works out for people.
Yeah. So, IBO, which a lot of people shoot.
It's like International Bow Hunters.
Yeah, International Bow Hunter Organization. That's all unknown yardage. So you're judging in every class. The hunter class is, I believe, max 35.
Yeah.
They have like advanced hunter class that'll go out to 40. And then your men's bow open, which would be like an open setup, longer bars, and you can use lenses and stuff, single pin. That's 45. And then when you get to like semi-pro and pro class, those are 50-yard unknown, so max 50. And like you said, there's a ton of other classes that use a lot of classes use the same stakes and stuff. But so IBO's all unknown, and the terrain is usually at locations where it's pretty hilly, kind of diverse setting. So it makes it a little more challenging. Yeah. It takes away, a lot of the targets. They take away the ground from you, and they'll stick, an alligator out there at like 47 yards or something down there. Like, so, they do a good job of making it challenging. Yeah. Whereas ASA is primarily, pretty flat. Yeah. Which I don't mind because you don't have to deal with a whole lot of like offset footing and a lot of your verticals and your horizontal stuff. It's, I think, a little bit easier to manage. But same thing. The ASA though, they really lean more towards, like, I would say it's primarily almost every class is known yardage. Yeah. Except for obviously semi-pro and unknown pro.
What format do you think you see the most of around here? Is it the ASA style, or is it? I mean, because I feel like I don't notice as many IBO tournaments.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess this is my own personal observation. I don't know what other people would. Yeah. I think a lot of people would agree with it. But like, I think IBO used to be, really big in the north. ASA was primarily like in the south. Yeah. And to the west, and you have like NFA and field and stuff was out west, which pretty much still is. But like all the local clubs and stuff, I mean, they pretty much all scored the 11 ring, and they all shot IBO for a long time. Yeah. And I feel like in the last 10 years, you see a lot more clubs being affiliated with the ASA, with Mackenzie targets, and I think it's just the like how the sport is evolving. Sure. It's people want to shoot known yardage. Yeah. Everyone has a rangefinder. The other thing is, if you're not shooting all the time and you're not judging all the time and you're not seeing targets like multiple times a week, it makes it really hard to be competitive at a certain level. Sure. But don't get me wrong, like a lot of people still love going out and judging targets, even though you don't shoot all the time. It's a challenge and you have fun with it, and it's also good practice because sometimes you might not have a rangefinder. Your battery might die, sure. So, but I think like the overall direction, it's really been going towards like known yardage. I mean, you can look at it, when you look at participation and turnouts at events, whether it's IBO or ASA or whatever it may be, and you look at the class sizes and everything, it's there. Like, you get known pro and K50 and 45 and 40, K40, like those classes are huge. Oh yeah. And you've got the IBO doesn't even come close to it right now. And it's just how it is.
And we saw some of that too on the ASA state qualifier that you guys hosted too. It was a lot.
And that has I think a lot to the other thing is just the involvement. Like people enjoy ASA. They like the game, but like the local clubs are getting involved with it. So like with the ASA, the Ohio ASA Federation, there's, a crazy amount of qualifiers through the summer now. You can almost shoot an ASA tournament every weekend.
Yeah, you really can.
And and they're getting involved where, there's. They have awards, and we're getting vendors involved, and making it feel like more of like a bigger shoot than what it is. But you get the numbers to those shoots, and a lot of the clubs, that are still, I don't want to say hanging on to, like, not to knock on Reinhardt targets, they're great targets, you know what I mean? It's just, but like, people don't want to shoot 11s, you know, like they like shooting the 12 and they like knowing the distance, and you don't see like as much of there's not much of a presence. Me personally, I don't believe of IBO in Ohio right now. And it's like, you know, I've gone to a couple of IBO state championships in the last few years, you know, I've done pretty well at them. But it's just like the participation numbers, they're not there at the events right now. For a state championship for the IBO, and even being in Ohio, you know, like this should be like IBO country.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, there should be like more of a presence, I think. And, you know, only seeing like less than 30 people showing up to a state championship, that's rough. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know the numbers for the Ohio State Championship, but I'm just saying, like, it's nothing like what the
you'd think it'd be hundreds.
Yeah, you would think, you would pull people from all over.
Yeah.
Do you think it has something to do with, like, the ASA and being primarily known? I feel like it's the barrier. Like, you know, I'm looking at, like Ben and I, you know, I've expressed this to you too, but it's something that I've been kept in a watchful eye on. Heck, I even got that V3X33 just so I could have, like a hybrid bow, if you will. You know, it's big enough to be a target bow, but it's also considered still a hunting class bow. Mm-hmm. So, do you think having the 40 known or the K50 like being like an easier barrier to entry, because people know that they don't have to guess, they may not have to lose as many arrows or have a bad performance. People want to show up and shoot good. Yeah, they don't want to shoot bad.
And for once again, like my opinion on it is, you know, there's a lot of times where I thought about, like, you know, I would maybe just shoot, you know, known yardage because, you know, it's, if, like I said, if you're not seeing targets all the time, you don't own your own range. Yeah, it can be really hard to be competitive. So like, if all you have to do is work on your shot, your mental game, and you know, stuff like that, I mean, that's a little bit more manageable. Yeah. You know, anybody, you can shoot just about anywhere and work on your shot. It still helps to have those targets, right, in practice. But I think that's kind of the mindset of some people. It's like, when I go hunting, I have a rangefinder, you know, and I'm doing this for fun, you know. I don't want to lose my arrows. Oh yeah, it's not like I'm not coming out here to have a miserable time. Yeah. You know, people just want, you know, and so I think that might have a little bit to do with it.
And those super drives aren't cheap, man.
Yeah, you work hard for that stuff. You know, you don't want to lose it. Don't want to fling one into a tree.
Yeah. 39 instead of 49.
Yeah. I mean, and I think everyone it comes down to people's personal preference and what they want to do, whether they like IBO, whether they like, you know, believe me, I do IBO and ASA, and bounce back and forth from both games. And, but I just, you know, and I'm a huge supporter of both organizations, and USA Archery and FAA. You know, I love it all. Archery is awesome, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think my own opinion is ASA is kind of taking over.
Oh, for sure. Let's kind of get into you got some belt buckles. Mm. So let's kind of get into go ahead and brag about yourself for a little bit and kind of talk about how I know you won one of the states, right?
Yeah, Ohio State Championship.
Ohio State, and then kind of how that transitioned into your pro staff deal with Prime. I know that was more recently last year, I think. Too,
yeah,
right?
I think this is like a year now. Yeah. That I've been on with Prime, which is awesome because, I mean, if you know, you guys know everyone at Prime and at G5, it's a great company. Yeah. It's just one big family, and they're extremely supportive of, you know, whatever it is that their staff is doing, which is great. I know that, you know, as far as, you know, the equipment, you know, you can talk about the bows and everything, how great they are, but it also means something to know that not just the equipment you're shooting, but the company you're working for, you know, they stand behind you and you stand behind them, you know. So I feel like I've developed a good relationship with them, and it's opened the doors for a lot of cool things. Not just with myself, but with, you know, the university and some other things. So, I mean, hunting, and I'm really looking forward to shooting that new inline this year.
Yeah, it's
for
great.
deer season.
That's a great bow.
New binary cam system. So
That's a great bow.
because I'm still shooting with for target. I'm shooting the Black 9 still
Oh,
for
so yeah,
indoor
black-
and outdoor.
black-
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is that bow just suits me though, because it's a
Yeah.
39-inch bow, so a lot longer riser, but the adjustability on the roto cams on that, and for me, I'm big on like the grip and the hold and the feel of a bow, and I knew like the one thing that pulled me towards them was just even when they had the CT series out, the CT9s and 5s and all that, even the Synergy stuff, I was like, man, I really like how this bow
Yeah.
feels, and I couldn't wait to get one, and it was like I did, and now I have a ton of them. But yeah, that Black 9, it's like, and they're all good. I mean, the Nexus, so many of my friends are hunting with that
Yeah.
bow, and
A lot of people still hunting with that bow for sure.
yeah. But yeah, this new cam system is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to getting it in the woods. I got some really cool hunts planned
Yeah.
for this year. Gonna go out of state. Not too far, just doing like Indiana, Kentucky, Ohio, and kind of see how we do. In the past, I've done fairly well in those states. So, well, not Kentucky. I'm trying to. I want to be able to say I've done well in Kentucky.
Yeah,
but,
no doubt.
But so looking forward to those trips. But yeah.
You guys should hook up with Taylor. I think Taylor's our pro staff member. Taylor, he's working on going back down to Kentucky this year too. I think they were just telling me about that the other day. Now, we just had the Huffbuck on. His episode aired yesterday. Indiana is now like a trophy whitetail state.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens when you shoot a 211-inch
Yep.
typical deer out there.
I had some friends in college, my buddy, and he's from Indiana. And about, I think 5 years ago or something, we linked back up, and I started going to Indiana to bow hunt with him.
Yeah.
And he's a real good hunter. He's a good guy. And I think I've shot 4 bucks out of 5 years on his property behind his house.
That's
and
awesome.
And some of them are real nice deer. And so and I always look forward to those trips because we all it is like deer camp. His brother comes down and stuff. They work for Fish and Wildlife Services or Forestry Services or whatever, and we all it's like we camp out in the shop.
Yeah.
For a week. We have maps, talk about where we're going, and look at cam cards every night. And
That's the best.
it's a real good time, and I look forward to that hunt a lot. I didn't get to go last year, just life got crazy, and but usually that's really what I nowadays when hunting and stuff. Yeah, it's like I love deer hunting.
Sure.
And I've been really blessed in the past where I've harvested some really great deer. But it's like now I think I'm at that point where I think a lot of people can say the same. As it's like I'm more into the experience of it now and sharing the experience with people and friends. And it's not so much like what's this deer gonna score, or things like that. It's kind of like even if we don't harvest an animal this week, it's like getting to hang out with friends and kind of put the rest of life craziness behind us for a while and just like connect and engage with each other.
Yep.
And getting we're at the point where everyone's got kids, or they're having kids now, and and some of them are getting to the point where they can share those experiences with us, and taking them out to get their first deer, and and that's really rewarding. Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of a bummer not going out to Indiana last year, because it's just like I like getting out there and just kind of hanging out with the guys, and being in woods I've never been in before. So hopefully we get back out there again this year. I know it's gonna be hunting season before you know it.
Yep.
It's coming down the pipe, man.
I keep looking at my hunting bows, and I'm like, I gotta get one of these set up. I gotta start doing something, because I'm like, this summer's gone by so quick. I'm getting married in like 2 weeks, and then I come back, and we'll be back in school like a week and a half later, and we got to move. She's coming from New York, so it's like my schedule. I'm like, I don't even know how I'm gonna get stuff done in between now and.
You just kind of wing it.
Being an adult sucks, man.
It really does. If you can press pause on that time clock.
It's terrible.
I'm glad you said that though, because you're right, 100% right. I mean, Ben and I feel the same way for sure. I know I can speak for him, but like, there's so much more to just enjoying the experience than there is killing something. I mean, we've said it 1,000 times on this podcast, but the hunt that Ben and I shared, we didn't get to share many, but that one that we did, dude, we had a hell of a time. I didn't kill anything.
Yeah.
But there's tons of stories to be told from it. There's experiences that we shared. There's learning opportunities there. You know, and then I'll be 35 this year, and you know, my daughter's at the point now she'll be 6. You know, before too long she can be right there with. I mean, she could be in there right now with me, and so it's like, dude, I don't even care if I shoot like 100-pound doe. Like, I'm at the point now where it's just like I want to share those experiences with her. You know, it's not something I've ever had.
Yeah.
So,
I think it's important, especially nowadays, because once again, this is me thinking out loud, you know, my own opinion here, but like in today's, you know, with the outdoors and families and stuff, and you know, the experience is like social media, and you know, there is so much of a presence in everyone's everyday life, and there's a lot of information, and you know, every time you get on your phone, you're just seeing pictures of giant deer all the time.
Yeah.
Giant elk, you know, and you're only seeing, you know, the highlight reels of stuff, you basically.
100%.
But I think like because it's happened to me, it's like it affects me a little bit. It used to, and probably the youth, where it's like it's kind of setting these expectations of what their hunt should be like, or almost like desensitizing them in a sense where it's like, well, if I don't shoot something over 150, like I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
You know,
Yeah,
or like, Dad, I don't want to shoot that deer. That's too small. And it's like, dude, when I was your age, I would be shoot. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, and now I'm at the point where I'm like, you know, it's kind of like, it's more about the experience, not like what you're going to post on your, you know, your feed that night. You know what I mean? Like, getting them to be proud of, you know, it's an accomplishment no matter what. The trophy's always in the eye of the beholder. Because for me now, you know, I look at the deer on my wall or the fish and stuff, and I'm like, you know, I don't think like, oh yeah, that's a 172, you know. No, I think of like
the experience,
what I did that day, the cameras, the hard work that went into it, who was with me, you know, what we did afterwards, celebrating and cooking out, you know, like that's the truth. Like that's what's where the rewarding side, I think, comes into, and I think we need more of that with our youth these days.
Yeah, and that's just
sharing those experiences.
Yeah, and that's just about every aspect of your life too. I mean, we look at it from the hunting and fishing side because that's what we're connected to. I mean, I feel the pressure. I know everyone in this room probably does, and it's like it's unnecessary pressure. You know, you're pretty good at it. Your mindset's pretty good, and Ben, that is. It's just like I'm gonna shoot what gets me excited. I don't care if it's a 110-inch deer or a 210-inch deer. Like it's gonna whatever gets me excited and gets my heart pumping. Like
I love it. I mean, if an 8-pointer walks by me, I'm shooting it.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and because I think you don't realize like it's not easy bow hunting.
No.
You know what I mean?
And not everyone gets to do it.
And how fortunate you are. You don't, you know, so it's like it's a privilege, first of all, you know what I mean? And to say that, you know, I mean, you just used a stick and string, you know, to bring in some meat for the family.
A lot of work goes into that point.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a huge accomplishment. So, you know, I think
I mean, especially looking
gets watered down sometimes and people forget.
You said it best. It's all about the memories.
Yeah.
No matter what size.
Yeah.
You can look up if you get it mounted or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, I remember that was, 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was with Jordan.
Yeah.
I was with whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, don't get me wrong.
It's cool to shoot.
I would love to shoot a couple 200s.
Yeah.
And, you know, but like you said, you know, I also don't have huge farms and I don't, you know, I'm not into the management side of things, you know. But I respect that side of it also. It just, you know, it comes down to the individual and what it is to them.
And I think a couple episodes ago we had John Eberhardt, and I mean he's got over 50 deer in the Pope and Young record book, and so I mean no one's more accredited in terms of like, I mean maybe there's someone out there, but not to my knowledge, in terms of like trophy animals, and you know he had the same kind of mindset too. It's just like these deer that you see. And we were kind of talking about something different, but these deer that you see on TV, you know, let's look at, I mean, they have a great show, but like Tiff and Lee or, Headhunters or whatever these outdoor sportsman's channel whatever these TV shows are, these deer look like super manicured, right?
Yeah.
And it's just not. In a lot of
I mean,
regards,
that's their
it's just
job.
not,
That's their life.
Yep.
Yeah,
To manage deer, and they do a phenomenal
Yeah.
job. Obviously, they love what they do and they're good at it. But that's not realistic for the guy who's working a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday.
It's not at all. I mean, I barely get time to even go check my camera.
It'd be cool to have more hunting shows that like. I think Hunting Public's pretty cool.
Hunting Public's fantastic.
It's like
Meat Eater's doing a really good job.
You need
with
some
it.
of those shows for the everyday guy that are going through some of the same hardships. I think where it's like, the film is like, oh, I'm getting ready to go to the tree stand. You get a call from your wife. Now I got to go pick my kids up from school. Now I'm an hour and a half late to the stand. It's hot. The wind's bad. I have no choice. I have to sit here. Like, it's like, because that's real life.
Yeah.
Or dealing with other hunters and whatever it may be. It can't all be sitting over giant food plots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
With, nothing
It'd be
smaller
nice.
than 150.
It'd be nice, but that's not. I don't have that privilege.
maybe heaven will look like that for us. No, you're right though, because I couldn't tell you how many times I love my wife to death, but I can't hunt at home because she knows I'm a 10-minute walk away from the house, and so it's like, hey, are you done yet? Like, the kids are being assholes. Are you done yet? Like, can you do something? Like. Are you back? Like, are you done? It's dark. Why are you still awake? Like, it's dark. So
yeah. No, going back to some of these hunts I've had, it's like, I would shoot a really nice deer here in Ohio on Friday or something, and I would pack up, leave, straight for Indiana, and I would be there like this happened like I think two out of the years that I've been going out there to my buddy Andrew's place is. First night we got there, Andrew shot a giant like 172 or something that night. So like as soon as I pulled into his house, we like went out and tracked his deer, and everybody from around the area came over, and we had a few adult soda pops and stuff that night.
Oh, of course.
And so we didn't go to sleep, or and I was gonna get up and hunt in the morning, and woke up, and it was raining hard as could be. That next morning I was like, I'm sleeping. So I slept until like 11 noon. And rain cut out. So I got up, and there's just a little pin on this map, and he's like, there's a tree stand here now, He's like, you should, go out there, and, I'm like, okay. So, not feeling so great that day, and it's noon, and it's like rainy, but it was quiet. So I go out there, and I walk, I get, I don't know how, and the tree stand was like in the middle of this like hardwoods patch, and it's a latch on, and I found it, and I get up there probably at like 12, and I'm sitting there, and I like fall asleep, and I wake up, and I look over, and here comes this beautiful 10-pointer right by me. I draw back, I smack him at like 16 yards. He goes maybe 40 and rolls, and I call Andrew on the phone. I'm like, hey, I was like, dude, I just shot a real good buck. He's like, you've been in the stand for like an hour. And I'm like, I know, it's awesome, and he kind of didn't believe me, and I was like, dude, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so, they come out and we do it, and it's one of those things like, dude, a lot of people have been hunting all year. You just rolled into Indiana, 20, like sat in a stand for an hour, and you're like ready to go home already. It's like, well, might as well hit Kentucky now, and and then like I think that it was like one of those years you did good. Within 1 week, I had like 2 beautiful 10-pointers on the ground, and then the next year it was like the same thing. It was like I just pulled up at his house. First sit, I go out to this one little pitch point I know of, and it was the windiest day you could ever imagine. Like, I mean, it was crazy, and I didn't even get in the stand probably until like 5 o'clock or something crazy, and lo and behold, in walks this beautiful 9-pointer at 20 yards. Pinwheel it. It goes like 30. Same thing. I call him. I go, dude, I just shot him. He's like, dude, you're starting to make us look bad. Like, this is my own farm, and you've dropped these deer like your first sit, like in 2 of these hunts, and they were both deer that they had never seen before. That's cool. It's just that magic time of the year in November where anything they're starting to move and anything can happen, and it's one of those things is. The experience side of it, we took it back, and it was like, well, it looks like we're call the boys again. It looks like we're hanging out in the shop again tonight. So
it sets that expectation for you though too. You're like, man, I wish I could do this every year.
I know. And it kind of I really like focus my hunting like if we have cameras and stuff out and I'm getting deers, I'm good deer on there. I'm pretty big on like, I want to get it done the first week before they really change up their pattern or anything.
Yeah.
Like that first weekend, it's like, if hunt hard, that's probably the best chance. And, until they start changing and going nocturnal, and then you might not see them till November or whatever. But like for a few years there, it was like I was doing pretty good with tagging out in the first week or two. And if not, then it's like, just like I think everybody, vacation time is for November. You take the first 2 weeks off and try to get it done then. But last year was, I think, in the last 8 years, the longest it's taken me to have a successful deer, like a good hunt on the ground.
So
and
you were like December or something, weren't you? Or you
oh
were
my
late?
gosh, it was late November, and I was at the point where I was about to just pack it up because I just love bow hunting so much. I think I might have shot 2 or 3 deer with a gun in my life.
Yeah.
And I've never shot a buck with a gun. Every deer on my wall has been a bow kill, which is awesome. I'm pretty proud of that. So, even during gun season, I'm sitting with the bow most of the time.
Yeah.
Throw the orange hat on and do it, let people push them around to me. But last year was stressful because it was our first year of school. We were, we're competing in the fall. It's just hard to find time.
Yeah.
In between practices, not getting out till almost 7 during the week, and on the weekends, it's kind of like you just want to chill because, I guess the other side of that is, most people are like, oh, you're a collegiate archery coach, and you do this and that with Prime and other things, and I'm like, they're like, that's so awesome. You get to shoot your bow all the time. You're so lucky. No, I actually shoot less now.
Yeah.
And it's, I'm so in it. Like, that's the part where, it's my job now, but now it's my job. It's not a hobby anymore.
No.
This is what I do.
Yep.
So
We don't know anybody like that, do we?
so it's
Everyone at this
totally
table.
different. But yeah, last year was just a struggle. I didn't get to hunt at all. And it's a good hunting story. If we have time, I'll tell it real fast.
Yeah, go
All
ahead.
time in the world.
Yep.
So like, we're getting ready for outdoor nationals. So we're taking the team down to Foley, Alabama to shoot the Collegiate 3D National Championship. Yep. And I've been in the woods one time, I think, and this is like mid-October. I want to say like 14th, 15th or something. I don't know. And we were leaving. That bus was picking everyone up from school that night. We were leaving at midnight because it was like a 12, 13-hour drive or something. We wanted to get in there on that day and have time to get relaxed and everything, and they could warm up, practice Friday, shoot Saturday, or compete Friday, Saturday, or whatever. So we were basically doing like the all-night bus ride. And I was at school that day just prepping, getting stuff done, and one of the guys on our team has a pretty nice farm just a little further east of the school out in Guernsey County. And he's like, hey, Coach, you want to go hunting with me and my buddy this evening? Because we've been talking about, I'm good friends with his dad. I've known this kid for quite a while, actually. He's a real good shooter. And I was like, yeah, I've been meaning to get out to their farm and check it out. And he's like, well, we're going. I'm like, all right, yeah, I don't have anything else to do. I've been at work all day. I'm like, yeah, I'll go with you, So I had like, it's like freaking almost 90 degrees outside. Yeah. It's hotter than hell. So I've got like super light camo. I don't even know if I've washed this camo yet since the season before. It's just been in like an airlock bag, out in the garage, and so I throw that stuff in there, and I know my hunting bow. I've shot it. It was tuned and dialed in and stuff, but I didn't have a lot of time behind it because I've been shooting the target bow nonstop all summer, and so we got out there, and we drive out there, and of course, it's like we are not even early. We get to his farm, and it's like we should have been in the stand an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago, 90 degrees, and we get up there, getting dressed in the field and stuff. Well, I pull my stuff out. Not only is my stuff probably not clean, the wind is terrible. I'm sweating like a pig, and I go to get my boots. They're both left boots. I didn't even grab, like, I was in such a rush and so unorganized. Like, it was one of those things where usually, like, not like me. Usually everything is organized, everything is prepped, and it's like my pack has all my stuff in it. This was kind of like, I was just like, okay, let's go, throw some stuff in, and I'm ready to go, And so I pull it out. I've got a leather boot, left foot, and I've got this hybrid boot. It's a lefty. And we have to walk a good ways too. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. We're laughing about it. And I'm like, I'm not even, it's whatever. So I'm like, I'm not even going to see anything anyways. It's hotter than hell. And like, we're going to get an hour of sitting time. And so my game plan was, let's take the climber and sit somewhere. I love hunting out of a climber. So I throw a climber on the back. We walk. My feet are killing me. And we get to this field, they go one way, and I'm going to this other side of the farm and thinking, I'm just going to go in blind and find a good tree to climb. Wrong. This place is like a jungle. There is no trees for a climber. And it's so late in the day, I knew I was like, I'm not trying to go into these woods and start kicking stuff up. I'm just going to sit on the edge of this hayfield. And they had a few stands on, he had told me they're out there if you find one you can sit in it or whatever. So I end up finding this old ladder stand, and like, no offense to them, it was a good stand, but it was, I don't know, it's one of those ones where you're sitting in like, okay, I'm glad I have my harness on.
Yeah.
Like these ratchet straps, it's like, but, and it wasn't super tall. I'm probably sitting like, I don't know, it felt like 12, 15 feet off the ground or something. And the way the hayfield rolled, it was like I was basically eye level with deer if they came out. So, I knew I wasn't going to find a tree, so I just kicked my climber off. It's just sitting on the ground by the base of the tree, and I would just climb up there, and I'm sitting there, and I'm just kind of like, well, it's it's good to be in a tree finally, not going to see any deer, but like I'm here, I'm not at school in my office or anything, and nothing else to do, and so I'm just sitting there, look up, and about 150 yards out, the biggest coyote I've ever seen is just in the field, prancing around in the grass and stuff. And I'm like, so great. I got left boots on. It's hotter than hell. The wind's terrible. I got the biggest coyote I've ever seen out here running around now. I've only got 45 minutes of light to hunt probably. It's like, great. And I even took a picture of my two left boots. It's still on my phone. It's hilarious.
That's awesome.
And so I'm texting like the guys. I'm like, dude, taking video of this coyote and stuff. I'm like, this is crazy. This is a big one. And I'm just like waiting for it to get dark so I get the hell out of there. Like, I'm just ready to go. Yeah. And sure enough, that coyote left the field, and about 15 minutes later, I look over to my right, and there's this old logging road that comes up to the hayfield, and all I saw was this giant white rack. And he's just coming to the field. And this ladder stand, there's like 3 shooting lanes maybe through it. It's just all overgrown.
Not maintained. No.
And but I remember ranging that path, and it was like 50 yards. And I was like, okay, well, at least I know that's at 50 yards, whatever, And sure enough, that buck came out, and he came right to the edge of the field. He's standing right there, and he's just an awesome 8-pointer, super wide. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, all right, I'm definitely, I want to take a shot at this guy. And I'm very comfortable and confident with shooting at 50 yards. I practice at that, So, I know some people are like, oh, you can't believe you shot something over 30 yards. It's like,
it's different when you're at your level.
Yeah,
you practice all the time.
So, if I didn't feel confident, I would not take that shot, obviously. Sure. But, so I'm sitting there. Well, to get that angle, I had to stand up in this ladder stand. And I am shaking like a leaf. And this thing is wiggling with me, this stand, just as I'm wiggling.
I can feel it.
And I'm standing there, and I get the full draw on this deer. And that wind is bad, and I knew I had to take that shot at 50 because I knew as soon as he stepped in the field, he was not going to go any further. He was going to go back in.
Yeah.
And he's looking around, he's looking over at me, he's looking, he's alert, and so I was like, yeah, it has to be at 50. So I get back full draw, and perfect broadside shot. It was amazing, and as I go to release, shot breaks. And I mean, the second my shot broke, he turns. And at 50 yards, as fast as, that bow was shooting like 305 or something, but at 50 yards, the deer turns in mid-flight. It was like, in slow motion, I saw it, and I was like, I think I said to myself, like, I just missed that deer before the arrow even, got there.
Yeah.
And he turned, and I heard, like, a hollow thump. And I saw him hop off down the logging road and go. But nothing was breaking, nothing was crashing, and but I was pretty sure that I saw a gut shot, And so now I'm like, well, if it's either, in his back quarter, it's in his gut, I don't know, whatever. So I'm texting them. I'm like, dude, I just shot a giant. The guys, first time to this farm ever. Like all this, nothing's going right. And they're like, no kidding. I'm like, but it was a bad shot. And I'm thinking, oh God, I'm leaving at midnight.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I know the best thing to do right now is just to leave. I'm not even going to go over there and look for my arrow. I'm going to wait like a little longer, let it get dark, do the things that I can control, to ensure that, to better my odds of finding it. Because, I've had a few far back shots on some animals. And, if you do the right things, you usually are going to find that deer, that animal. And, so I waited a little longer. I backed out, went a real long way out, and we left. And got a hold, and I'm feeling sick. That's the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah,
Yep.
it is.
That uncertainty. And then, it really is, it's the crap side of the deal. You know what I mean? And it's part of hunting. It's part of bow hunting. It's a hard pill to swallow sometimes. A lot of emotions are involved, not just, how you're feeling, but, you take into consideration the animal.
Yeah.
Because I don't think there's an animal I respect more than the white-tailed deer. And, a far back shot is, it's a fatal shot, but it's not a quick way out. And, so, your mind's thinking about all those and the what ifs and whatever. So I got my buddy to come out and do some tracking the next day for me, real good tracker. Found my arrow, broke off, blood, probably with 13 inches penetration, broadhead's missing. Found some blood, it was pretty dark. But the tracks, the deer wasn't running. And, this deer was going, like, west, like, way off the farm.
Yeah.
And it was just spotty. It wasn't, anything bad. And, he looked for, like, a day, and eventually blood was non-existent. And, I'm thinking it was maybe a muscle shot hit in the back somewhere in the quarter or something, because then you start questioning, what did I really see?
Yeah.
Was that a gut shot? What did I eat? You don't know. Your mind's playing tricks on you.
It is.
So, felt sick. Didn't sleep for a couple of days in Alabama. We're going to national championship. I'm sitting on a bus the whole time. It was the worst feeling in the world.
13 hours to stew over
Yeah,
here.
it was terrible. And, went down. There was a great experience at the national tournament. Our team did great. Really proud of them. And then we came back, and the entire team, we all got COVID.
Yeah.
Oh,
I remember
yeah.
Everybody that went had COVID.
I remember that too.
we were supposed to shoot.
That was when we were supposed to do the video after you came back.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
And so now I'm down, like, couldn't even go and look for this animal. Even if I wanted to, we were going to grid search and do everything. And we got, some other people involved. So it's like, let's keep waiting. Well, we'll see if he pops up on camera. We'll see, no sign of this deer the rest of the season. So we're thinking he just, jump the farm or something. Or if he did, it's like, well, I don't know. We're going to wait till the spring. We'll grid search and we'll look for stuff. And so went on. Deer season was rough. I ended up shooting a nice deer, though, in late November over in Muskingum County. And then it rolls into the spring, first ASA shoot of the year. I was down south in southern Ohio. And I get a call from a text from Colin's dad, and he's like, hey, I he was out checking property lines and stuff, and he sent a picture. He goes, is this your deer? I was like, hell yes, that is that deer. And he was like, well, I just found it. He found it so far, like, this deer did, like, a giant loop. He walked through probably 3 different properties before he even came back, and he died on the opposite end of this property.
Oh, really?
And when I, because we had, like, the GPS and the blood trail, and we had it all mapped and stuff, and it's like this deer was on his feet for a very, very long time, and having coyotes in the area, he's probably getting bumped all night and stuff. I don't know, but the amazing thing about it was he fell down into this cut, and, that was in April.
Yeah.
Not a single mark on his rack or skull was chewed on by squirrels or anything. It wasn't destroyed. It smelled absolutely terrible.
I'm sure.
It was real bad.
Yep.
Only about 3 months of rot.
Oh, it was
Or
bad.
4
I mean,
months
you
of rot.
figure, yeah. I mean, that was it. That thing laid
Was
there
it?
at the end of October,
Oh,
November,
October,
December,
yeah.
January,
Yeah.
February. I mean, that was like 6 months.
Half a year.
Yep.
And it was not just damaged at all.
It's
It was
crazy.
amazing.
Nothing got to it.
No.
Yeah.
And so I got it. I got the game warden involved. They gave me, we told them
claim.
the story, and they gave me slip for it so I could keep it and at least do right by the deer. And I had a nice European mount made for it. And no joke, I should have brought it in, but the inside spread on this deer was 22 inches.
That's crazy.
And I mean, both beams just came straight out. They didn't even come back in. It was wild.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
It was crazy. So, yeah, I got it clean. It's nice, and like I said, I'm trying to get an article written up on the whole experience because I think there's a lot of takeaways from that.
Yeah.
It's one of those things I think a lot of people can relate to, and like me especially. It's most of the times when I've had a successful hunt, it was when I was not expecting it to be a successful hunt. And the ones where you prep and you prepare and you walk through all different scenarios and you go out there and you think you have like everything under control.
Dude.
It's when I didn't see a single deer.
Yep.
Yep.
100%.
And the one time you go in there, like I said, and
Yeah.
everything goes right.
Yeah.
It's but it's kind of what do you do in that situation when things don't go the way you want them to? How there's the mental side of it. How do you cope with that?
Yeah.
And so I mean, there's a lot of positive takeaways from it. That's why I kind of want to get a good
Yeah.
write up going. And
Oh, for sure.
but yeah, I mean, the fact I've been calling that deer Lefty like since we found it because of my left shoes.
Oh, that's a great name for it.
So I'm gonna frame my feet in that freaking ladder stand, and I'm gonna put it right in a frame right next to
Right
the
next to
mount.
them. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. But you're 100% right on that, though. Like,
Yep.
the hunts that you are having such a hard time, both of my experiences were, one with my first archery kill, I forgot my harness. I had to walk back through and get my harness. Then you come back and you're like, man, it's hot. 45 minutes, boom, done. I'm done. And then, we talked about there's a brand of sticks that we had some troubles with last year. I'm fussing with the sticks at 9:30, 10 o'clock, whenever I'm in the stand. And I'm like, well, this spot's blown out. I'm going to go ahead and try this other spot that I've never been to on this farm. Well, then I had 2 encounters that day that it just weren't close enough to seal a deal. And it's just like, but you go out there completely prepared, stealthy, quiet. You're like half asleep by the time you leave because it's like nothing. There's just nothing happened that day. It's just so funny how that works out that way.
I know. I think some of my friends think I just get. Well, I don't think they. I think I do get lucky a lot of the times.
Oh, yeah.
Like I've been, fortunate enough, to have a good amount of successful hunts, but, it's just like, I don't want to say it's not all luck because, when you look at, even if you're going into a place blind, but you're still looking at maps and, on Google Earth and stuff like that, you can find pinch points. Where walking in, where a deer where are they gonna eat? Where's some water? Where's the ridges? Where's the bridge? Stuff like that. So that does play into it. But yeah, I think as far as just people are gonna, I think at this point it's like, oh, a brand new property, don't let Craig go there. Like nobody knows anything about it, don't let him step on it because he's probably gonna find a deer.
He's gonna kill the biggest deer on the property.
I'm probably like ruining I'm not gonna have that luck anymore talking about it.
Yeah, no, it's all gone now.
It's all gone.
Remind me not to invite him to any control hunt or anything crazy that we got going on.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, let's dive in here, man. I know we want to spend some time on the collegiate side. I'm glad, like I said, you kind of transitioned it a little bit for us with the Foley shoot and all that. But like I mentioned earlier, Ben and I went and we did that little shoot off, if you will. I kind of let them beat me just a little bit. And Zach's not listening to this, so I can say whatever. But no, we had a great time with the team, and like I said, my wife obviously went to Muskingum too, so I got a connection with the university slash college when you guys went. Mm-hmm. But let's dive into the collegiate side, and then we'll kind of wrap it up with, if someone's listening, let's say like a parent or someone is listening, or even a student to this episode, kind of like how they get involved in that collegiate level. So go ahead and talk about the team first and kind of what you got going on there.
Yeah, so the team and program, I guess, just to try and give a brief overview of everything. Archery collegiate archery is really taking off
It is.
in the United States. In the past, there's been a lot of universities and colleges that had clubs, and now you're seeing more of the like varsity teams, like funded programs through the university. And I guess 3D archery is really taking off.
Yeah.
Obviously indoor and outdoor target are, I think, the biggies for collegiate archery. But 3D is really, I think last year at 3D Nationals, there was, I want to say over 40, maybe 45 schools. It was the most that they had ever had as far as attendance goes. And that number, I could be off on that number, but I think it's somewhere there. It's really taken off. There's other sports. I think it's like they consider like an emerging sport or something, because a lot of universities are getting like esports now, and you have stunt and some other stuff. But so collegiate archery, you focus in the fall. There's 3 seasons. So you have your 3D season in the fall, you have your indoor season, your outdoor target in the spring. And the 3D really, it mirrors the rules and stuff off of ASA.
Yep.
So you're shooting Mackenzie's, you're scoring 12s, and it's all known. As far as the disciplines, there's bare bow, Olympic recurve. You can shoot pins class, so like your hunter setup, and then an open compound. Men's and women's divisions for all of them. The main focus in those seasons is usually, obviously, you have regional championship and your national championship.
Yeah.
Here in Ohio, I think right now Muskingum, we are, I believe, I'm not sure, we are the only fully funded archery program in the state that offers scholarships.
Yeah.
There's other schools here in the state that do have programs, like Hocking College. Ohio State has a club. I think Case. Shawnee used to have. There's a handful. Toledo and so on. I don't know. But so we really don't have like a conference.
Yeah.
There are some really good conferences though throughout the country, like down in Kentucky. Like you have the Mid-South Conference. And there's schools like Cumberland and Union Pike and stuff, which I think the goal is one day, I'm working with the USA outreach director and education director, and a lot of people, the events team there, to grow the northern region for collegiate archery. We're trying to get more schools involved. So maybe one day we do have like an Ohio archery conference or something, and have that that conference feel.
Yep. Do you think it'd be a lot of schools like similar to like your size on the D2 level, like your Wittenbergs and your Heidelberg?
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing work trying to get, because,
Otterbein and all those guys.
Yeah, it's USA Archery, which there's a lot of opportunities out there for schools and programs, grant opportunities that and it's just kind of trying to get the schools, aware of what's available to them.
Yeah.
Because last year, you can get transportation grants, lodging grants, coaching grants, equipment grants. There's a lot of things that you can do that they can help get those started. But the thing with collegiate archery is when you're going to regionals or nationals, you're competing against everybody.
Yeah.
We don't fall under the NCAA umbrella where Division 1, 2, and 3 in your conference. It's like when you go to nationals, you're shooting against Texas A&M, Hocking Community College. You're shooting against Ohio State. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you're shooting against everybody.
Yep.
And so it's kind of the same thing for the when athletes get acknowledged for their achievements. When you have your All-American, they're an All-American.
Yeah.
When they're an academic All-American, they're an academic All-American. So it's pretty cool. And so, we compete in those 3 areas, 3D, indoor, and outdoor. And, we're pretty fortunate at Muskingum because, the university itself, it's a great place, great people, but they're really supportive of the program and, building, the direction we're going with it and what our goals are for the future. So having that support has been extremely helpful.
Sure.
And it's helping kind of set us apart. We're going into our second season competitively. And we have an amazing outdoor range. We have a great 3D course. We have it's like close to 260 some acre farm that was donated to the school, and it's cross country and archery only.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And our indoor range, we're finishing the new wellness center at the university. It's like a $37 million indoor turf track, you name it. So it frees up the John Glenn gym for archery. So now we have our indoor archery center is centralized on campus for in the winter.
Yep. And that's where we were, right?
Yeah. And so and then for outdoor, we're back out at our archery range, out of the farm again. So there's not a lot of programs that offer that, that have those type of facilities.
Yeah.
And and I tell everybody that when I came in the first like half a year or whatever, my main goal was like, you're building this from the ground up, which is, that was a huge thing for me because it was like, I graduated from Muskingum and I, been gone a while, but it was like when this opportunity kind of came up, it was like, this is a great chance for me to give back and to get involved in something that I'm passionate about, and something that, it's like, I don't want to say people, your job, you want to make sure you love what you do, and it's like, that's, and the people who do, their everyday job, they love what they do for a living, that's rare,
Oh, yeah.
So, I was, I think I had a lot to offer to the student athletes as far as my life experiences, and, just kind of the overall development, not just of athletes, but as, people preparing them for the future.
Yep.
And so, all those things were kind of just like, yes, green light, like, let's do this. It's going to be a challenge. And it's been hard for me in the first year because, I came in, it was like, let's build these facilities. Let's recruit. I mean, there wasn't anything I didn't, I had to do everything. And, and I was I'm learning now through this process is like, you can't get it all done at once.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And you can't do it all on your own, to alleviate some of that stress. Because I'm kind of like, I want my range finished. I want the team ready. I need this, I need Under Armour to get more involved. I need this stuff. Yeah. The scholarship, like, it was just a lot of moving pieces and I wanted it all done quickly. Like I had a goal for we still have a goal, whereas like I have to be realistic in the sense where it's like, this is phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and so on. And we're right on track with where we're supposed to be, which is good, but it has been a learning experience because, the whole coaching side of that for me, it started out, I just liked it. So I got certified as a coach to work at shops, like to help at shops and local clubs and stuff like that with, youth shooters and stuff. And it just so happened I had enough certifications that I was eligible to even apply for this job, when it came up. And, since then now, it's like my coaching, my certificates and the courses and the workshops I've gone to and, everything, it's really taken off in a short amount of time. Yeah. But it's been fun so far, a little hectic, but I tell our recruits and I tell our students and even the staff there, you'll hear on campus a lot, like, it's an exciting time to be a Muskie, and it's like, but for, I think our program, it has a little bit more of more meaning to it because, people we're bringing into this program, it is exciting because they're building this, from the ground up, that you're the foundation of this program going forward. You get to say like, oh yeah, that archery range, we built that, we helped coach with that. Yeah. Or I was part of the first team that went to regionals and won, I was part of the men that took silver medals at regionals, the first one, or exactly. I was on the first academic All-American there, exactly. So,
my name's the first one on the banner, right?
Yeah. And they're all like, and some of them, they're already so far. They're like, it's going to be sad when I leave here because it's like, this is how good it is now. And
It's gonna get
what
better.
it's going to be in like 5 years or 10
Yeah.
years, you're going to have one of the top programs in the country probably.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm going to come back and be so jealous of all the, you know, the awesome facilities, how
Yeah.
improved they are and everything.
Right,
And it's
exactly.
like, but, you know, once you're a Muskie, you're always a Muskie. You know, so, and not just for what we're doing at the university, but, you know, we're really getting involved with the community.
Yeah. I was just
In the
curious.
region, you know, we're getting involved with the ASA. We've been doing a lot of stuff with NASP, the after school programs, and, you know, not in, you know, us, but, you know, people, you know, even Prime, they really, like I
Yeah.
mentioned earlier, they've helped out with a lot of stuff, and some of the other sponsors we have going, like Black Eagle and, you know, the Easton Foundation's great too, because they really helped us out with a lot of the grants for equipment grants and stuff with USA Archery. So,
Well, it's cool too because that area, I mean, it's kind of two-part. That area is kind of a pipeline. You know,
yeah,
if
I
you
mean,
think
it's
of
an
like,
archery rich environment.
yeah, I
for
mean,
sure.
look, you go take a walk through Philo High School halls and look
Yeah.
at all the state championship trophies that they have in there, or Maysville,
Yeah.
or you know West Muskingum. I mean, all that entire area, the MVL area. I think at one time, Sheridan was the only, which is the closest MVL school here to us, where we are, was the only school at one point that didn't have a NAS program in the entire MVL.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like 10 or 15, or probably like 9 or 10 schools. And so, yeah, and it's right in your backyard.
Yeah, and not just MVO. I think there's like the AAC or something. So
Yeah.
you get some of the southern schools and schools
Yep.
in West Virginia.
Oh, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, those NAS programs, but S3DA is also really taking off here in Ohio, just like ASA. It's kind of everything's coming north. You know what I mean? And I was just at the outdoor S3DA Target National over the weekend, and it was a great event, good turnout for them, and getting to watch the young adults shoot and stuff. And it gives me a good chance to talk with their parents and get our program out there a little bit. But a lot of good shooters. I mean, these youth shooters these days, they're just, I mean, they're so far ahead of, you know, where
the tech and
it's
even what they're shooting. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man, like we did that video, and like I said, my wife graduated just a couple years after you, and Muskingum kind of was my college experience, you know, going there and visiting on the weekends or whatever have you, and just to go and to see the campus and see how things have changed and what's different. And I can only imagine how you feel as a graduate and being able to like build something that, you know, obviously you spent your life at, and then you can share those experiences with those students. You know, you've walked the hill both ways, you know, and for people that went to Muskingum, they know exactly what I'm talking about. I think they got a bridge now, but
yeah, they're so spoiled now. Like I tell a lot of recruits, and it kind of like shows my age when I talk to people at school now, because I'm like, back when I went to school here, you know?
For sure, man.
But it's like, dude, the dorms didn't have air conditioning.
Oh my God.
I'm like, you know, we didn't, you know, my senior year, that chess center was finished, the new student center, you know,
Yep.
and, but now we've got a brand new music center, brand new library, the nice theater. You got an AC in the dorms. They got a nice, there's only one cafe on the one hill now. You got the bridge. You don't have to walk up and down hills and stuff. And, you know, you got this amazing indoor facility. There's like 3 turf fields now, you know, you're not playing on grass anymore, cow pastures, you know, it's like, I'm like, well, I always tell them, like, well, so this is where all of our tuition went, so you guys are welcome.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
Like, you get all the nice stuff.
Exactly.
I'm not saying it wasn't nice when I went there. I'm just saying it's definitely improved since I was there.
So if I'm and this is something I thought was really interesting to me with the scholarship money and not being part of the NCAA, kind of how you can get kids that may not necessarily want, you know, this is another opportunity. I think you told me golf and archery were the 2 least utilized scholarships. I think archery obviously probably being the least utilized. Golf is a little bit more prevalent, but like kind of how if I'm if I'm a junior at Philo High School, or you know you picked up a lot of kids from Crooksville area, like if I'm a student, like how does this help me get into college?
Yeah, I mean, with the recruiting and how all that stuff works, I mean, collegiate archery, it is taking off, but you know, I mean, a year ago, yeah, we were primarily recruiting from Ohio, a little bit of West Virginia.
Yeah.
And now, you know, we got Front Rush, we have recruiting apps and stuff we use. I mean, I have recruits from as far as, Utah, Connecticut,
yeah,
Florida.
that's cool.
I mean, there's almost it's wild. And a lot of that, comes from getting involved with S3DA, and the ASA. We send scholarship awards to like podium finishers at a lot of the national events for the young adult classes. But locally, yeah, if people are if students are looking to want to continue their education, they want to continue to excel in archery.
Yeah.
It's really just a matter of reaching out.
Yeah.
I
Is there a certain number of slots? Like, do you have a certain
Not
team
really.
size or however?
No, I mean, and that's the thing. Like, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah.
It's not a bad conversation because growing is never a bad thing.
Sure.
But then it comes down to like, all right, let's get some assistant coaches in here or something,
Yeah.
or how do I? Because with that number, it's kind of like how do you schedule your training plans and
sure.
the lessons where you're having their beneficial practices.
Yeah. I mean, you got like 30 kids there. It's hard for you.
Yeah,
to,
make sure they're getting the right time and the attention that they need.
Yeah.
But right now, like this year, we are at, I believe, 27.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily mean that we will be 27 for every season because we have a lot of athletes that are dual sport athletes.
Yeah.
We have some that play volleyball, some are on cross country, some are on golf team and stuff. So they're dedicated to those programs when they're with them.
Yeah.
And then, so they might not shoot 3D. They might only do indoor and outdoor target or vice versa, whatever.
Sure. It just depends on how their seasons fall or their priorities.
And it also, it comes down to a lot like what are their goals and expectations? What do they want to get out of the program?
Yeah.
They're there to get an education. That's number one.
Yep.
Archery's like the icing on the cake. You
Sure.
get to do that as well. So, when we sit down with each student athlete, and have touch bases throughout the year, but it's kind of like your priority level with certain things and where maybe you need more attention at that time, internships and
Yep.
Their course load and all that stuff that kind of plays. So it's kind of like the thing with the archery is I set this program up to be like accessible just about everybody.
Sure.
Where it's like if you need to study more and you can't be at practice Wednesday, that's fine. Well, my office is always open, and we can always schedule time to work on
Yes.
your shot or whatever it may be. We'll find a way for you to get time in. So, and the same thing like with I tell a lot of these kids because some of them, it's don't get discouraged. Like if you're an ASP shooter and you've only shot an ASP,
Yeah.
and you want to try this and you want to, but I've never shot a compound bow or an Olympic recurve bow. Well, that's why I'm a coach.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's the experience level. Obviously everybody wants to recruit elite athletes.
Sure.
But I mean, coming in as a developmental athlete is something. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's not bad, and it doesn't mean that I'm going to not give a scholarship to you because you're only skilled in NASP archery.
Well, sure.
There's a lot more that goes into it. What do you do
yeah.
for your community? What kind of what are your grades? What's your involvement?
Well, you want good students too,
yeah,
right?
we look. I think not just my team, but Muskingum in general is.
Yes.
We recruit good people.
Mm-hmm.
We people who, not just like good people, but that I think some of us coaches, we often talk about like that championship mentality, and it's not always like championship is in your national championships and stuff, but it's like, do you have that mentality in all aspects of your life, with your job, with your family? Like, do you want to compete? Are you challenging yourself daily? Those are the athletes that we want.
Yeah.
People who want to improve, not just academically, but with their life, with sports. That want to be better. Better today than they were yesterday.
Sure.
And they're just good people. That's what and Muskingum was just full of good people, and once you're there, faculty and you've been on campus, you get that sense right away.
Oh, dude, we how long were we there? Maybe a couple hours that night.
Yeah,
And,
like 3 hours.
And like instantly I can't remember the girl's name that we shot with. It's on the video. Shoot, but I mean, we had a great time with her.
Yeah.
And then, some of the other girls, it's just funny, like, watching them interact, and it was really family friendly. Like, a lot of guys were talking about hunting and stuff. Of course, we had Zach there, and we were, cutting it up with him, being a previous employee here. And so it was just, like, within the 30 minutes, we were having a great time. I mean, it was, like, not a big deal.
Yeah, and me going there, I get to talk to people about the school all the time, my experience. But for being where the school is, if you love hunting and you love fishing and you like being outside,
there's no deer in Muskingum County.
Yeah, don't go there.
That's what
nobody.
Dan and Jackie.
Stay out of there.
Dan kept saying, but there's no deer in Muskingum County.
Yeah, there's no deer.
No, yeah, my wife's family lives out in the New Concord area, and man, her uncle is just he's always slaying, and there's definitely. Dale Jr.'s got a place not too far for a reason, right?
When we were in school there, it was like, go to practice. When it's over, run to the truck and get to, go hunting. Or school's over, get going. And, there's a lot of opportunity out there.
Especially even on the fishing side. I mean, I don't want to segue this completely too much, but even on the fishing side, with them adding Jesse Owens State Park and all the wildlife area that they've added. And
all the AEP land out there.
AEP land, that's another 30 to 40 some thousand acres that the state added. We've said it before, but there's people catching monster 8, 9, 10 pounders down there, and it's literally like 30 minutes from the college. I mean, and you're in it. So I don't even know how long we've been going on here, man. We can go
like an hour and 10 minutes.
Let's I want to give you the opportunity to go ahead and pitch. Like, so if I'm someone that's interested in checking out more information for the college, and then where can people find you on social media? If I'm interested to see even your stuff personally, go ahead and give us all your social media stuff and how people can reach out to you.
Yeah, so as far for the school, I mean, we are on it. We have Twitter or social media outlets. We got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Also, if you go to fightingmuskies.com, you can go to get recruited. There's a link for archery. You can submit all your information there. My contact information is on there to get a hold of me by email or phone or whatever. And same thing. If not, I'm on social media, Instagram, Twitter. I'm also at, a lot of the national shoots, a lot of the local regional stuff. So that's always a good way. Not everybody can depend on schedules and stuff. My office is always open, but I meet and speak with a lot of parents and kids and just shooters in general at a lot of the events. Even if we're not recruiting there, I'm there shooting or competing, which is great. It's kind of two birds with one stone. I get to go and shoot at these events, and I get to meet great people and stuff at the same time. So that'd be good. But, if you are thinking about wanting to, continue your education and you want to continue to pursue archery, Muskingum is a great place for it. And, to be part of something, actually built, you're building this. Yeah. So it's that time right now if you want to get involved and be part of a family and, let's set something up. You can come out and we'll get, even if you're out of state, we can do virtual tours and stuff. But the important thing is just figuring out, is Muskingum the right place for you? Do we have what you need academically? Is it going to be a good fit for you? More times than not, you come to Muskingum, you're gonna be successful.
You get a great education there.
You get a good education and a lot of support.
Definitely. All right, man. And we'll have all those links and everything, like always, in our show notes below. So you can just go ahead and click on those. And if you're watching YouTube, we'll have it all in the descriptions and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think I'll be at the next shoot's the ASA Classic down in Alabama here in, I think, 2 weeks or so. So if anyone's down there, you see me running around the ranges or whatever, give me a shout.
We need to get him on the TAC tour next year with us.
Yeah.
Go do some TAC. And
his
summer has been busy going back and forth to New York, but we're gonna have to get behind the bow with each other here before too long because I'm sure that'll be a heck of a good time. So.
Yep, you guys are always welcome out at the range. Like I said, we'll start practices up here August 16th, and we'll have 3D ranges up and practice ranges. You guys come out, get dialed in for.
God knows I need it.
Yeah. We're also going to host another shoot.
Are we? Okay,
I
cool.
forgot to tell you about USA Archery, where they asked if we wanted to do the first USA Archery State 3D tournament.
Nice.
So we are going to host that in September. Right now, I believe 17, 18. I'll have to double check on that. But it'll be the first USA Archery 3D State Championship in Ohio history. So we're going to do that at Muskingum, which will be awesome.
We'll be there.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will,
Definitely.
because we had a hell of a time at the state qualifier. You had a worse day than I did.
Well, the first day was a little rainy, but we got through it. Yeah.
Rain, snow, sleet. It was terrible.
But really windy. But no, that would be awesome, man.
Yep.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because we'll have to check that out for sure.
It's all known yardage, so people won't have to judge.
There you go. Awesome. All right, brother. I appreciate you coming in.
Yep. Thanks, man.
Take care, everyone. Have a great day. All right, everyone, that is all we have for you today. We hope you enjoyed that conversation with Craig. It was great to bring him into the studio and talk all things Muskingum Archery, as well as what he has going on. As always, we appreciate you listening. Please give us a rating and share this episode with a friend. And until next time, enjoy the pursuit.